Hey, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain on a law that, well, it affects a ton of people, but it's often kind of misunderstood, the Telangana Pawnbrokers Act of 2002. Let's find out what it really means.
So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a spot where you needed some quick cash and maybe, just maybe, a pawn shop crossed your mind? For a lot of us, it's a pretty common thought.
Right? It seems so simple. You hand over something valuable, they give you cash. It feels like a straightforward exchange. But here's the thing. It's not just a handshake deal. This whole transaction is actually built on a foundation of law.
And in Telangana, that foundation is the 2002 Pawnbrokers Act. It's basically a rule book designed to make sure everyone, you and the pawnbroker, gets a fair shake. So let's walk through exactly how it works.
All right, first things first. Before we dive deep, we gotta get on the same page with the lingo. The law uses a few key terms to describe who's who in this whole process.
So first, there's the pawner. Sounds a bit formal, right? But that's just the legal term for you, the customer, the person bringing an item in to get a loan on it.
Then, of course, you have the pawnbroker. This one's pretty straightforward. That's the business, the person who's actually licensed to give you the loan in exchange for your item. And that item you're pawning? Well, that's called the pledge. It could be anything, really. Jewelry, electronics, you name it. That's your pledge.
Okay, so now we know the players, the pawner, the pawnbroker, and the pledge. Let's get into the game. How does the transaction actually start? Getting these first steps right is absolutely critical.
It really just comes down to these three things. And that first one, super important. Section 5 of the Act says every legit broker has to have their name and the words pawnbroker clearly displayed. If you don't see that, that's a red flag.
Okay, let's talk about money, because this is a huge protection for you. Section 7 makes it really clear. Pawnbrokers can't just pull an interest rate out of thin air. It's legally capped, tied to what the big commercial banks are charging. This is all about preventing crazy, predatory interest rates.
But wait, it gets even better. The most powerful part of this rule is that the total amount of interest you pay can never be more than the original loan itself. Think about that. It stops a small loan from spiraling out of control into a massive debt. It's a fantastic safety net.
And all of this brings us to what might be the single most important piece of paper in this whole deal, the pawn ticket. This isn't just a simple receipt, you know. It's your contract. The law is super specific. Sections 8 and 11 lay out exactly what has to be on it. So yeah, hang on to that thing.
All right, so the deal is done. You've got the cash, and you've left your item behind. So what happens now during the loan period? What are your rights, and what are the pawnbroker's responsibilities?
Well, the law creates a really fair balance here. The broker has to keep good records, give you receipts for any payments, and, this is a big one, keep your pledge safe. And on your side, you have the right to get your item back and even to check the sale records if it does get sold. It's a two-way street.
Okay, but what if you lose the pawn ticket? I mean, that's a scary thought, right? That one piece of paper that proves the item is yours is gone. But don't panic. The Act actually has a plan for this exact situation.
Yeah, Section 10 lays out a super simple three-step fix. You get a special form from the broker, get it officially witnessed by a magistrate or a notary, and bring it back. Boom. Just like that. Your legal right to your item is restored. It takes a potential disaster and makes it totally manageable. All right, fast forward. The loan period is coming to a close. This is kind of the moment of truth, right? Time to either get your item back or not. The law has really clear rules for both scenarios.
So what's the clock on this? Well, the standard time frame, according to Section 12 of the Act, is 2 years. You get a full 2 years to pay back the loan and get your stuff back. Now, you can agree to a longer period, but that has to be in writing, right there on the pawn ticket.
But what if you can't redeem it in time? Well, the pawnbroker can't just decide to keep it or sell it under the table. No way. Section 13 is super strict about this. It has to be sold at a public auction. And get this, if it sells for more than what you owe, that extra money is legally yours. They have to give it to you. Okay, here's a what if for you. What if something terrible happens, like a fire at the shop, and your item gets destroyed? Are you just out of luck? Nope. Section 14 covers this. The pawnbroker is actually liable. They have to pay you the value of your item minus the debt you owed. It's another layer of protection for you.
So all these rules sound great, but what if a pawnbroker just ignores them? Well, this act isn't just a friendly suggestion. It's got teeth. There are serious consequences for breaking these laws.
And I mean serious consequences. Just look at this. Operating without a license, charging illegal fees, or too much interest, that could land someone in prison for up to 3 years, plus a hefty fine. The law even protects kids, making it illegal to take a pledge from anyone under 18. These penalties are designed to make people think twice.
Okay, that was a lot of info, I know. So let's boil it all down. If you remember nothing else, remember these 5 things. 1. Always deal with a licensed broker. 2. That pawn ticket is your golden ticket. It's your proof. 3. The total interest can never, ever be more than the loan itself. 4. You've got at least 2 years to get your item back. And 5. If it has to be sold, it has to be at a public auction. These are your rights protected by law.
At the end of the day, the Telangana Pawnbrokers Act is all about making sure these transactions are safe, fair, and transparent for everyone. It's a really powerful tool, but it only works if you know about it. So now that you know your rights, what's the one thing you'll be looking for the next time you or someone you know even thinks about a pawn transaction? Thanks for joining us on The Explainer.